Hey guys, it's Saria. Welcome back to my channel and today's tutorial. So today's video is how to make these Bing Bong inspired ears that I'm wearing on my head right now. And if you guys saw, I did an inside out inspired kind of candy colorful pair really not that long ago. I will have that video linked down in the description box and in a card above if you want to check those out as well. They were some of the easiest ears I've ever made and they're so lightweight and comfortable. But today is about Bing Bong. For this tutorial, basically I'm going to be showing you how I did a no-sew method for this. I have done this on my channel before, but I really wanted to make these because they're kind of a different inspiration, character, theme, look. The bow, however, is something different. It is a felt bow, but I did it in a different way so that I could add the little polka dots. So anyway, I'm not gonna blabber on anymore. Make sure you check out the other ear tutorial that I mentioned before, and let's jump into this video. Okay, so for the actual ears, I'm going to be using this pink Plushie fabric. I have used this in tutorials before. I will have them linked in the description box below for you guys if you want to find other ways to use the rest of your fabric. And I'm going to be tracing 4 of the ear cutting line template onto this fabric. Make sure you're doing it obviously on the back of the fabric and not on the Plushie side. I do have this template linked in the description box below for you guys if you have not printed it out yet. I do suggest putting it onto cardstock. I've actually also had people say that what they've done is traced it onto like a Tupperware lid that they didn't need anymore and cut it out of that, and then they had a plastic one. That's so smart. But yeah, once you've traced 4 of these, go ahead and cut them out. And then you're going to take the foam and batting template, which is the smallest one, and you're going to trace 4 of these onto some cardboard. I like to use the boxes that my Funkos come in because they're like a nice firm cardboard that's also thinner, so it's easier to cut. But go ahead and cut 4 of these out. I know I only showed you guys that I drew 3, but that's because I had to pull out another piece of cardboard for the 4th one. And then once you have those, you're going to attach these 2 things. So same method I always do. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue at a time, and then I'm going to fold the fabric over onto the edge of the cardboard. I know I might be moving a little bit fast, but I do this method a lot on my channel. If you guys are looking for more tutorials on this specific method, I will go ahead and link them in the description box below. I have an entire playlist of DIY Disney ears, and even if it's not the character you're wanting, I do show a lot of different techniques for making them. But just be careful not to burn yourself, kind of move slowly. I will say this fabric is so nice for beginners. It's super messy and gets everywhere, but it is really easy to work with and to fold over onto the hot glue and press down. And the best part about this Plushie fabric is that you don't need a trim on your edge because the furriness of it kind of like hides the seams. You'll see what I'm talking about once I connect these 2 pieces. But once you've done both sides of the ear, then you're going to go ahead and stuff them. You don't necessarily have to do this step, but being that it's Bing Bong, I felt like it was fitting that it's a little bit plushy. So I'm just taking some what is this stuff called? Polyfill? Yes, I think. Polyfill stuffing that I have a giant bag of. And I'm just going to pull it apart and then shove it into the ear. The reason you need to kind of pull it apart before you put it in is because it stops it from clumping up within the ear and makes it a lot more even across the entire thing. So now that you have your 2, you're going to hot glue close up the bottoms, and then you're going to attach these 2 ears together. So I add a pretty generous amount of hot glue, but I do try to centralize all the hot glue only on the cardboard, and then I'm just going to firmly press the 2 ears together. And then this is the part I was talking about where your edges are hidden. Like now this looks like one solid piece because of that Plushie fabric. So now I'm taking my ear spacing template. Again, this is in the description box below. For this particular set of ears, I'm not going to be covering the headband, but if you want to see me cover a headband with the same type of fabric, I did do that in my Scrump ear tutorial, which again is in the description box below. So I'm going to add a pretty generous amount of hot glue onto the bottom, and then I'm going to firmly press it down onto the headband after getting the spacing right for these ears. If this is your first time making ears, I would suggest marking the headband so that you're making sure to place these exactly right. It's very easy to shift them accidentally to one side and then you end up with crooked ears, which looks a little bit funky. But make sure that you fully let that glue set into place and fully dry so that these don't budge or break off at any point. And then I'm doing the same thing to the other ear. So now the next step of this, in order to make these a little bit more like Bing Bong, I'm going to be using these little fake candies. They are little miniature Christmas tree ornaments that I picked up from Hobby Lobby last summer when they were like clearanced right before they go full price. I hope I'm making sense. Anyway, they were on sale. But yes, I picked up the lollipops and I picked up these little wrapped candies, and then I also have some little sugary, they kind of look like gumdrops that I'm going to be using. But basically, I just take these, I add a little bit of hot glue on the back, and then just press them down onto the ear. And obviously this is to kind of emulate how Bing Bong cries candy. With the lollipops, I do highly suggest gluing down the stick as well as the top of the lollipop, because those sticks do break off really easily. And if you guys are interested in another tutorial dealing with inside out or another way to use these little candies, I did make another pair of inside out ears using these. And they honestly could just also pass for just like colorful, fun, candy themed ears. So if you are looking for something else to use these for, that's a good one. I will have that linked in the description box and a card above. But once you've finished attaching all of your candies, next we are going to work on the bow. I really wanted the bow to look like Bing Bong's bow tie, but I could not find purple fabric with pink polka dots, so I decided to make my own. So I had some scrap purple felt and pink felt. I cut it into a square that was about 5 inches by 3 inches. That's a rectangle, not a square. I know my shapes. And then I'm going to take this big button that I had on hand and I'm going to use it as a tracer to make circles on the pink felt. Now I do wish that this pink felt was a little bit less pale, because far away it doesn't look super pink, but again, it's what I had on hand. So I'm tracing 6 of these, and then I'm going to cut them out as well as I can according to the circle. These are not perfect by any means, but I didn't want to use my silhouette with vinyl or anything like that, because I wanted everybody to be able to do this tutorial regardless of what you have at home. So once I had all 6 circles cut out, I am just going to hot glue these on. I would highly suggest placing them on the bow and pinching the bow to make sure you look like how it looks before you glue them. I did have one that got placed and I wasn't super happy with the placement, but it was already glued down. And I didn't want to remake the entire thing. So again, I would place the dots first, make sure you like how it looks, pinch the bow to double check it, and then go back and glue. Which is what I did here, but by this point I had already glued 4 of them down, so it kind of defeated the purpose. And then to make this look a little bit more like Bing Bong's bow tie, I thought it was cuter to kind of cut some of them in half so it looked like this is part of the fabric and not just like some circles glued on. So I did cut a couple of them and used like the halves of them. And then I took a thin strip of that purple felt to wrap around the center of the bow. I'm just going to pinch it in the center, add a little dot of hot glue, and then I'm going to wrap around that strip. I have done this quite a few times on my channel, and I will have a DIY bow tutorial coming out for you guys that has a bunch of different methods for making bows, but I am trying to come up with as many different methods as I can before I release it. And then something small that made this look honestly a little bit extra cute is I took my very last dot and I cut a little piece off of it and I added it to that center part. Again, this kind of just made it look a little more uniform and a little bit more like his bow tie. Now something I will tell you guys is I did decide to curve the edges of my bow because, again, Bing Bong's bow tie has a curved edge, and so trying to emulate that, the pointy corners just didn't look right to me. So I just took my scissors and kind of took my time curving the edge. And then I added some hot glue to the bottom center of the bow and firmly pressed it down into the center of my headband. And make sure you hold it there for a little while, let that glue set and dry. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. Now you have your very own set of Bing Bong ears. Again, check out the videos that I have linked for you guys below just to get a few other ideas of maybe other things you could try or do, especially if you're looking to cover the headband or anything else like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. It really helps my channel grow when you guys give this video a like. If you have any questions, of course, leave them for me in the comments below, or you can message me on Instagram. I'm just DreamItDIY, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.